back in 2018, I was on the brink of total burnout. And the real problem was not the burnout. The real problem was that I thought burnout was normal.
Do you want to harness the power of the internet to reach people with the good news of the gospel? Well, you're in the right place.
We're Bruce and Lindsay, and we are passionate about helping you leverage the digital landscape to disciple nations.
Join us and other Kingdom Messengers as we share tech and tools to help you launch and grow your Kingdom channel.
Because the most successful people around me and the most successful people on my screen wore busyness like it was a badge of honor. And of course I wanted to be successful, right? And not just by worldly standards, I wanted to be successful by spiritual standards. I wanted to be a good Christian. And so I thought that being a good Christian meant being a busy Christian. So every area of my life became burdened with stress and the pressure to succeed and do big things for God and be used by God and all of those things. And it wasn't until the chronic stress manifested as numerous anxiety and panic attacks that I finally had to stop and take notice and realize, okay, I don't think this is normal. Some of you might know this, maybe you've experienced it in your own story. You can ignore stress for a long while, but you cannot ignore panic. And that's where I was. I was in a pit. And of course, I looked hard for a solution to the negatives in my life. I wanted an answer, I wanted a way out. And in my search came this very discouraging realization of just, first of all, how prevalent stress and anxiety and things like depression and burnout were, how they become so prevalent in our culture. And it seemed as if everyone was dealing with some form of it, is what it seemed like, because that was like what was popping up on my screen a lot, right? Just these messages of like, this is what it is. We're all dealing with mental illness. We're all dealing with anxiety. We're all dealing with depression. And so there was a lot of advice swirling around on what to do about this, right? Because people are trying to help people. So some people said do less, like quit things, take some breaks. And then some said do more, like go pray more, go to church more. And none of it was necessarily bad advice, but most of the advice that I had found, it carried the same implication. And that implication was, there's actually no cure for this. There's no being totally free from this. There's only better management of it. And that's super discouraging when you're in the pit, when you realize there's not really a way out. There's just dressing this pit up and making it as comfortable as possible. And so all that advice led me down this path to try to further perfect my life, to try to further perfect the pit that I was in. And that only led to further stress. So I became more desperate. I became more exhausted. And I even wrestled with this thought, like, if this is what the rest of my life is going to be, I don't want to live it, because a life of defeat is exhausting. And I had this tension in my heart of what I was experiencing in the natural, but then knowing that more had been promised. And this turning point came to me when I came across this beautiful promise in John 16:33, where Jesus said, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. He said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart because I have overcome the world. And then Jesus said in John 14:27, my peace I give to you. And it was in that moment, reading those promises, I realized, you know what? Jesus actually never promised me a perfect life. But he did promise perfect peace, even in the midst of an imperfect world. And so at that turning point, in my desperation, reading those promises, I prayed a very unholy sounding prayer that went something like this: Jesus, if you gave me your peace, where the heck did it go? And I sensed him say, I'm right here. And I began to understand that peace was not a calming feeling. It wasn't a calming situation. Peace is a calming presence. And it's a presence that has promised us he would never leave us. So I began to realize, my brokenness, the world's brokenness, didn't define Jesus. It didn't limit what he could do in my life and in the life of others. His wholeness is what defines me. I didn't have to live a life managing anxiety. I could actually be totally free from it. And so I began this journey with Jesus of learning about perfect peace. And over time, as I grew in this revelation of perfect peace, peace became a lifestyle that completely overtook and overcame the anxiety, the panic, and stress that I had been wrestling with. And like so many of you have shared in your introductions, I did not want to keep this breakthrough to myself. So many of you have shared your own stories, your own testimonies of what God has done in your life, and you're stirring with it because you don't want to keep your breakthrough to yourself. There's others out there you want to share it with. I wanted to help others get set free. I wanted to help others walk away from trying to live a perfect life and learn to live in perfect peace. You know, that promise for perfect peace, it's found in Isaiah 26:3, and in the Hebrew, this is really cool. Perfect peace is shalom, shalom. It's a double emphasis. It's like completeness, complete wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken. It's our kingdom life. It's life in Jesus.